I've never had any doubt that I did the right thing by my family and by cricket. I've worked for Kerry Packet organisation now for 35 years, and my family's future has been secured. After the initial nastiness, cricket and cricketers also did quite well out of World Series cricket. World Series cricket ensured cricket reinvented itself to survive the changing world. World Series cricket was the jolt the administrators needed, and it flagged the message that they were substantially underselling the sport to the television stations. Players immediately received substantially more money for both Test and first-class cricket, which increased the longevity of their careers. Companies saw value in using cricket as a marketing tool. TV coverage improved significantly, which increased interest in the sport. Night cricket created a new audience, both television-wise and at the ground, and generally, decidedly more income. World Series cricket revolutionised cricket pitch preparation through the drop-in pitches. Cricket's success inspired other sports to imitate cricket with things such as TV coverage and sponsorship. I only have two regrets, I think, about World Series cricket. E.W. Swanton was very good to me. And he was very good to me throughout my career, starting way back when I first started playing for Sussex. And I am still saddened that despite numerous attempts by me, I was never able to make peace with him after World Series cricket. It really did upset him. Second, I had a wonderful relationship with the chairman of selectors, Alec Bedser, which continued through and beyond World Series cricket. I know Alec understood why, but I would like to have told him of my plans before they became public. However, I promised Kerry Packer I wouldn't. I have some great World Series cricket memories, and I'm happy to share them with you, as well as address any World Series cricket issues in question time, if you so wish. And I know Mark Nicholas knows all my stories, and he knows as much about World Series cricket as anyone, so I'm sure he'll drag a bit out of us. That is both myself and Deadly, because I think he should explain his way out of this as well. I played with and against Colin. In so many ways, he embodied all that was good about cricket. There could be no better person after whom to name this lecture. As a batsman, he was calm and graceful. On and off the field, I don't think you could find a more courteous person than Colin. Who else would have called Jeff Thompson Mr. Thompson? And I was down the other end and I heard it and I couldn't believe it. Neither could Tomo, by the way. In the 1990s, Colin and another hero of mine, who's here tonight, and I've had the pleasure of saying good evening and shaking his hand, former Sussex and England captain Ted Dexter, were so concerned about the decline in sportsmanship in cricket, they campaigned successfully to have a description of the spirit of cricket included in the preamble to the laws of the game. We are seriously indebted to both of them for their work. When you talk about the spirit of cricket, you're talking about not just a game, but the way you live your life. You're talking about embracing the traditions of the game and sharing your experiences with friends and cricket lovers alike. You're talking about caring for people less fortunate than us. This has been done for years through organisations such as this one, the MCC, the Lord's Taverners, and the Primary Club, and more recently through foundations and organisations set up by many of the current and former players. The spirit of cricket is not just about adhering to the laws of the game. It's about something far more enduring, adhering to a set of values that can elevate you above the humdrum, above the cynicism that can drag you down if you let it. It not only covers uniting the various peoples in countries such as India, Sri Lanka, and the countries of the West Indies, but it also brings light to the lives of hundreds of millions of people in those countries as well as in Pakistan and Bangladesh. In particular, the spirit of cricket is about putting the game's interests before yours and your country's interests. Many people have romanticised our game because it does lend itself to that. Which other sport can generate substantial newspaper column inches over the equivalent of the suspense created by 5 successive maidens? Cricket is also a partnership. Sometimes cricket can feel like it's given you everything. The moment when you score a test 100 or score the winning run on a village green when you were batting at number 11. At other times, it gives you nothing. A string of ducks, a dropped catch. But as with all great loves, you never walk away. You accept the bad times, the sacrifices, and the sacrifices you make to participate in this wonderful game, the one the poets call the summer game. Give your hand to cricket and it will take you on the most fantastic journey, a lifetime journey both on and off the field. That's what it's done for me, and I expect for many of you as well. People around the world love sport, but none in my experience in the same profound way that people love cricket and what it stands for. I love cricket because apart from the skill required to succeed at the game, it's a great leveller. It's also a wonderful test of temperament and a test of courage. I love it for the people it has introduced me to, lifelong friendships with people from across the globe. I particularly love it for the opportunities it provides for old folk like us to get together as we have done today. I love it for the wonderful spectacle it continues to be in a world that is changing so fast, in the world of Facebook, the web, Twitter, text messages, and tattoos. I'll never understand those, I've got to tell you that. Stuart, I hope you haven't got a tattoo. I know Deadly hasn't, I can tell you that. And I'm damn sure Ted Dexter hasn't. So you still can't see anything to match the rhythms of a test match. Cricket moves to charm, and even in the 21st century, it still has the grace of timelessness. Yehudi Menuhin once said of one of Beethoven's great works, the Pastoral, that Beethoven wrote it, but God approved it. Whether it's a game of cricket on an English green, an Indian maidan, a Caribbean beach, an Australian park, or right here at Lord's with the ancient pavilion looking on, I believe that is also true of cricket. We humans created it, but God approved it. It has its scandals, it has its challenges, fitting into a 21st century where a lot of me-first values of different generations clash with the distinctive beauty of cricket. But people still play and follow cricket in remarkable numbers because the relationship to it is different from any other game. We have in our audience people of greatness in their chosen fields: music, the arts, business, science and politics. Offer them a chance to play a village green match tomorrow and they will invent any excuse to get out of the office. You can play and love cricket with the same deep-rooted attachment at absolutely any level. And here's another thing that makes our game unique. One of the first things scientific researchers do when they start a project, let's just start that again. And here's another thing that makes our game unique. One of the first things scientific researchers do when they start a project is to read the literature, to find out what is already known. When it comes to the literature, no other sport, not even the Americans with Red Smith and Roger Kahn, has ever produced anything as magnificent as cricket's great writers. Heading them up, of course, the incomparable Cardus and the poet Arlott. I preface the following comments by saying I have only considered our game from the narrow perspective of the 10 full members of the ICC. Lord Wolfe, in his recent report to the ICC, looked at the global picture and took into account the views of the 95 associated and affiliated members, and consequently has a more negative view than I. I actually believe that our game is in reasonably good shape. More people play it than ever before. Run rates are often substantially higher than in the golden years of cricket. More women are involved as both players and spectators. Television audiences are up substantially. We have expanded our product range, tests, one-day internationals and 2020s, to cater for the different needs of players and spectators alike. Global revenue has gone through the roof. Substantially more players make a decent living. Crikey, these England players these days even have food tasters and someone to tuck them into bed at night. It's a very different game. In the old days, people used to say, the sun never set on the British Empire. Today, cricket has grown so much that it is probably watched on television somewhere in the world 24 hours a day. Sure, there are issues that need attention, some even urgent attention. But this has always been the case. It's part of the evolution of the game. At the risk of oversimplifying things, the major problems facing cricket at the moment are the decline in the image of cricket, ICC's control, the international calendar and the mix of different types of cricket, gambling, the decision review system, governance, unequal resources, and the possibility of India cherry-picking the Wolfe report to increase its power. Fortunately, I think most of the problems can generally be addressed if India invokes and adheres to the spirit of cricket. Mahatma Gandhi said, quote, "A nation's culture resides in the hearts and in the soul of its people," unquote. As cricket certainly resides in the hearts and the souls of Indian people, I'm optimistic that India will lead cricket by acting in the best interests of all countries rather than just for India. If there is proof of the leadership India can provide, it is in the recent announcement of the one-time benefit payment of $13 million to former national and domestic players for their services to Indian cricket. This certainly exemplifies acting in the spirit of cricket and rewards those players who played before 2003 for little financial reward. That people like Chandrasekhar, Prasanna, Border and Nadkarni will have this sort of financial support as they cope with the onset of the years is a powerful sign that India can not only generate great wealth for the game, but use it wisely for the benefit of cricket and cricketers.